welcome back to another episode on my channel, and in today's episode we are turning to the Arrowverse. I have given you my tier list ranking for every single major character across these 4 shows of Arrowverse: Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and DC's Legends of Tomorrow. In today's video, we're going to go through all 4 of those shows and rank in a tier list the deaths. We've in the character ranking, we did the Flash characters first, then the Arrow characters, then the Supergirl characters, then the Legends of Tomorrow characters, and then we finished off with the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor. And today, we're going to be first going through the Arrowverse, the Arrow deaths, the deaths from. We're going chronologically this time around in terms of the deaths. So we'll start off with the first show that started the Arrowverse, that being Arrow, and we will rank the kills in that. Then we will go to the next show that came out, 2014's The Flash, go through all the kills in that. Then we'll go to then we'll do Supergirl, which came out 2016, and then we'll do Legends of Tomorrow, which also I think came out in the same season, but I might be wrong. In the same year, but I might be wrong. But yes, we're gonna go in that order. The deaths from those seasons, from those series in that order, from those 4 series in that order I've just mentioned. We're gonna start with the Arrow characters, then we're gonna do the Flash characters, then we're gonna do the Supergirl characters that died, then we're gonna do the Legends characters who died, and then we're gonna end with a special rank, because in this list we're also going to be ranking in one entry every single person who was destroyed during the antimatter wave during Crisis on Infinite Earths. Lots of people died, lots of people were obliterated by the antimatter wave during Crisis on Infinite Earths before the world was reborn into Earth Prime, and we'll be ranking them in one fell swoop, which means, and if you may know, I've done some maths, and this is how many, this is at least from what I know, is how many characters, people died during the antimatter wave destructions, during the antimatter wave's destruction of every Earth across the multiverse. $683,131,725,062 deaths. What happened? Victims were killed by the antimatter wave during Crisis on Infinite Earths. There may be more. There may be more than that. There may be less than that, and I may have butchered the number, but that's how many. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 figure number. The number of victims killed by the antimatter wave is 12. Is a 12 number. Is a 12 figure number. And we'll be ranking all those kills, all the deaths of characters during Crisis by the antimatter wave as 1. That's minus Oliver, and then the victims. There were also 2 victims during Crisis, and that there were 2 other victims during Crisis: the Anti-Monitor and Oliver, but Oliver Queen, aka Queen Arrow. But we'll rank those 2 as their own deaths, because those two weren't killed by the antimatter wave. They were killed before the antimatter wave. They were killed when Oliver recreated the new when Oliver created Earth Prime. Okay, that's enough for the intro. We've done the intro's been going on for 5 minutes, so we're not done. That's it for the intro. Let us get into the tier list. But first, before we do get into the ranking the characters, the deaths in this tier list, we're going to go through each tier from bottom to top. At the bottom, we have well deserved. This is for the character deaths that were deserved for the character themselves, because they deserved it, because they were evil, or they did they did so much wrong that they should have died even worse. So any character who died in across the 4 shows that I've mentioned that deserved to die will go in that tier list. Tier. The tier just above is emotionless. This is for the character deaths that in the long run don't really matter to me as a fan. They're not sad whatsoever, and then the victims don't deserve their demise, but they're deaths that I have no feeling towards. Then in the middle tier we have mild sadness. This is for the kills that I felt mildly sad for, so just slightly sad for, not super sad for. I cried I did get emotional at times, but it was mostly through sadness in it, but it was very mild. Just above mild sadness we have sad and emotional. This is for the sad and emotional deaths. It could be many factors. The death's tragic, the death is of a character that I love, or the death is just, sad and emotional in general. For no reason, in just it's a great character or a great character biting the dust. And then top tier, the most complicated tier of them all, is the devastatingly heartbreaking kills. This is for the deaths in Arrow, Supergirl, in Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, or DC Legends Tomorrow that are super heartbreaking because the character was beloved, or it was heartbreaking for the characters, or in general, I got super emotional about them. Let us get on with the tier list. This intro and the tier recap and going through the tiers has taken just over 7 minutes. Okay, so with the intro out of the way and the tiers covered, we're gonna start this kill. We're gonna start this list in 1 second. So like I said, we start with Arrow. We start with Arrow. I've got a document here that I printed off my tablet, which has got every single character and every single character death, the name of the character that died, and the description of their death. When we go, I will mention who the character is, then I'll say how they died, and then I'll tell you where I put them. So, we're ready to go. We're going to start off with the kill that started it all. We're going to go to the raft just outside, the raft that Oliver Queen and his dad landed on after the Queen's Gambit destruction, where Robert Queen, Oliver's dad, took his own life, which is what caused Oliver to become a vigilante in the first place. It kick-started the Arrowverse. Robert Queen obviously shot himself while in this boat. He killed the other guy on this raft and then killed himself right in front of Oliver. This kill obviously means a lot to the series. Not only was it the kill that caused Oliver to become a vigilante, but it was the kill that set in motion Season 1. It's the kill that set in motion the entire Arrowverse, the entire Arrow series, and the entire Arrowverse. And it put Oliver on a dark path. So due to how important it is to the lore, to the lore of the Arrowverse, and given how sad it was for Oliver, I'm gonna put Robert Queen in sad and emotional. It's not devastatingly handsome. I want to save that for the truly hot. It's not devastatingly heartbreaking, because I want to save that for the truly heartbreaking films, characters, deaths. But he's a great character, and he's a great character. He's not a great person, Robert Queen, but he's a good character. And it was sad to see him take his own life, but in the end, it set in motion the events of Arrow, and Oliver Queen being Green Arrow kind of made him a better person, which is weird to say. Okay, next up, we're going to go to the first of 2 victims that died while Oliver was on Lian Yu. We have Yao Fei Gulong, who was Oliver's first ally he met on the island before meeting Deathstroke, who we'll get to. But before meeting Deathstroke, Shadow, who we'll get to, and Sarah, who we'll also get to. Yao Fei was, like I said, the first one to befriend and the first one to meet Oliver while he was on the island of Lian Yu, and he ended up becoming a good friend with Oliver. And what did he get for his troubles? Being shot in the head. Later on during Oliver's unintentional exile on Lian Yu. Yao Fei was the one who taught Oliver how to use an arrow, how to use a bow and arrow, and he helped him survive on the island. If it wasn't for Yao Fei Gulong, Oliver wouldn't have found a way back to Star City, and none of the events of Arrowverse Arrow would have happened. So Yao Fei, for your, just like with Robert Queen, your big part to play in the direction of the Arrowverse. He is also going to go in sad and emotional. We get to the first truly major death. We get to the first big death, in my personal opinion, and that is the final death of season 1 of Arrow that we're going to go through, and that is the death of Tommy Merlin. After getting Laurel went into this burning building that was falling apart, and Oliver and Tommy followed her in, and while Laurel, who we'll get to later, was able to escape the building, the fire caused rubble to collapse, and it accidentally crushed Tommy, and he died due to the impact because he got something impaled in his chest and died from the injuries. This was the first truly heartbreaking death. Oliver, it was sad to see Oliver be the one to find his dead body, and obviously I felt sorry at the time. I felt sorry at the time, and I still kind of do, for Laurel, given they had just started a relationship. And yeah, Tommy may not have been the best friend to Oliver, but he was a good friend. And yeah, I don't think he deserved to be killed, but he did. And luckily, like a few of these characters, was brought back to life after Oliver saved the multiverse and created Earth Prime. Next up, we're covering Yao Fei Gulong's daughter, Shadow, another friend another person Oliver befriended on the island of Lian Yu. After seeing her dad get shot to death, after seeing her dad die from a shot to the head, Shadow got the exact same treatment from a guy who we'll get to literally up next, Dr. Anthony Ivo. And yeah, Shadow's death, given the friendship she made with both Deathstroke and Oliver, who we'll eventually get to near the end of this Arrow section. Yeah, she was a good friend to Oliver, and her relationship with her dad was really good. Her death did put Deathstroke on a path of evil when he did return to Star City, but it's not her fault. So that she is also going to go in sad and emotional. Sad and emotional. Next up, like I said, is Dr. Anthony Ivo. The first true villain Oliver faced in the entire Arrowverse. Dr. Anthony Ivo, near the end of Oliver's time on the Anu, well, his first time on the Anu, Dr. Anthony Ivo is the one who kills Shadow and is then killed himself when Oliver shoots him twice in the chest. Dr. Anthony Ivo was a villain when he entered Oliver's life on the Anu, and he was a villain when he left Oliver's life from the Anu, and he can go nowhere except he deserved to get shot he deserved to get shot dead twice in the chest, especially what he did to Shadow, and especially the fact that he is the main reason why Slade went on to become evil and killed our next character, and that is Oliver and Thea's mum, Moira Queen, who, again, just like Tommy, was brought back after Oliver saved the multiverse and created Earth Prime. But at the time of her death, it was hard. It was a hard scene to watch the first season, and it continues to be a hard scene to watch. It really does, and it can go nowhere except devastatingly heartbreaking. Alongside Tommy Merlin, it was the first. For me, it was the first death that truly made Oliver the person he ended up becoming. And she may not have been the best mum, but at least she was a better parent to Oliver and Thea than her husband. And yeah, it was heartbreaking to see Moira die, and especially given it was because of Oliver's former friend Deathstroke, it makes it even more emotional. How Deathstroke could betray a friend like that by killing his own mum. So yeah, Moira goes in devastatingly heartbreaking. Next up, we have Mayor Sebastian Blood, or Brother Blood. He was a minor villain in the early seasons of Arrow, and after doing some terrible stuff, he was stabbed through the chest and died. Yeah, there's nothing about this death there's nothing about this death that's great. There's nothing about this death that's emotional. I don't think he deserved it, because I feel like there's cats on this list that deserve their death more than him, and I do think maybe a little bit he should have been given a slightly worse death. But yeah, I don't think it's deserved, like well deserved. I still think he deserved to die, but I wouldn't say that's enough to put him, in my personal opinion, in the bottom tier. Next up, we have Isabel Khrushchev, or Ravager, who was a interesting character. The only thing I remember about her in the show, is that she ended up being revealed to be working for Deathstroke. And what does she get for working with Deathstroke? She gets her neck broken by Nissa Al Ghul. This is another death where it's not deserved, but it is certain. There was certainly no emotion when her death happened. So yeah, motionless. We're going through these pretty quickly. Next up, we have another truly hard death to swallow, and that is at the time, death of Sarah Lance, which is going to go in the top tier in devastating heartbreaker. She was killed at the start of season 3 of Arrow when she was shot in the chest. Chest 3 times with arrows by a drugged Thea Queen, Oliver's younger sister. Well, not really younger sister, but we didn't find out that she wasn't really Oliver's younger sister until later on. But enough about that. We have Sarah Lance. Like I said, she was shot 3 times in the chest with arrows by a drugged Thea Queen before being resurrected in Lazarus Pit, which is where she would. And after coming back from life, she would eventually become the hero she was known for throughout the rest of Arrow, and her main role in Legends of Tomorrow, the White Canary. But in terms of her death, we're not including the whole Lazarus Pit thing, because when she came out, she was a completely different person to the one that died. Different person to the one that was shot 3 times with arrows by a drug dealer. So she is gonna go, because of that. She has to go in devastatingly heartbreaking. Next up, we have Floyd Lawton, aka Deadshot, who died in an explosion during one of the Arrowverse Suicide Squad missions. Deadshot was not the best character, but he made up for it He made up for it. He killed He killed Diggle's brother Andy. Well, killed his brother and Diggle's brother Andy before it was confirmed that Andy was still alive. But yeah, Floyd Lawton, Deadshot was a bit of a enemy towards Diggle, but I think they ended up becoming friends. They feel like they ended up becoming friends, and Deadshot, because of this, stays behind during a heist that ends in a building exploding with him caught in the crossfire. Because of his small redemption arc, I felt a little bit of sadness with this one, so it's going to be the first entry in mild sadness. Next up, Ra's al Ghul, another character who deserved his fate. Most certainly deserved his fate. What's there more to say? He is a despicable villain in any DC project. He always is. No matter who he's played by, no matter what project, he's always evil. But especially in this film, he almost kills Oliver, and yeah, I just didn't. He almost killed Oliver, and in the end, he deserved being stabbed through the stomach by Oliver himself. And yeah, it was when it happened, I was happy, and it was his death was well deserved. Next up, we have Amanda Waller. Obviously, Amanda Waller, unfortunately, not going to go in well deserved, because I don't think she deserves it. She was she's a bad person, Amanda Waller, but she's not awful. But it was definitely emotionless. There was no emotion when she was shot in the head during, I think, in the middle seasons of Arrow, maybe season 3. Maybe actually season 3, just like with Floyd Lawton and Ra's al Ghul. Nah, it was probably in season 4, given she's after Ra's al Ghul, who was the main villain of season 3. Okay. Amanda Waller goes in at emotionless. Now, next up, this one hurt at the time and still fucking hurt, and hurt at the time and still hurts. It is the death of the wonderful character that is Laura Lance, Sarah's sister, who sadly in season 4 was stabbed in the gut by the main villain Damien Dark, and she died from her injuries when she suffered a seizure in the hospital, and she died before she could say goodbye to Quentin. And what really tips this death over edge is not only what would happen with the Earth 2 version of Lauren and her redemption arc, but also the fact that Sarah no longer had a sister, and Quentin, when he found out that she had died, he was so devastated, and I was devastated too. Laurel goes right next to her sister in devastatingly heartbreaking. It's Laurel Lance's death, outside of Oliver, is my favourite death of an Arrowverse character, of an character from the Arrow that appeared mainly in the Arrow series. It was a hard scene to watch. I cried, and yeah, it was the first time I felt true emotion. And yeah, she goes in devastatingly heartbreaking. The second worst death, but second best death at the same time in Arrow, behind Oliver. Next up we have, for me, a forgotten character and a forgotten death, and that is Diggle, who was shot. Andy Diggle, John Diggle's brother, who was shot in the chest by Diggle. If we didn't know if Andy Diggle died originally, he would have gone in mild sadness, but he didn't. He was brainwashed by Damien Dark before getting killed by Diggle, and because he was brainwashed by Damien Dark, I'm gonna push him from mild sadness down into emotionless. I did feel emotional for Diggle when I found out that he didn't have his brother alive, but when the show and the characters found out, when the characters found out that Andy was still alive, when he did end up dying, the emotion was taken away. So yeah, he goes in emotionless. Next up, we have Damien Dark. This is literally so freaking difficult. It literally is so difficult on where to put Damien Dark. Damien, at the end of season 4, because of what he did to Black Canary, because of what he did to Laurel, was stabbed through the heart by Oliver. And I just don't know how to feel. I just don't know how to feel for him, because I'm like, it's well deserved. But he has a daughter. But he had a daughter, and he had a daughter. I know that's not a good enough reason to have him high, but I'm like, he's a bad person. Don't get me wrong, Damien Dark, and he deserved to die. But he had a daughter, who he showed later on in the Arrowverse that he really truly loved. So I'm not going to put him in well deserved, but I am going to put him, Damien Dark, in emotionless. He is a character who deserved more than what he got in terms of his demise. From one great villain, though, to another, we have the wonderful villain that is Malcolm Merlyn, aka the Dark Archer, aka the dad of Tommy Merlyn, and the actual real-life biological dad of Thea. If Malcolm didn't have the relationship with his daughter before dying, then he would go down into well deserved. But what puts him high up on this list, on this tier list, is the fact that he sacrificed himself to save Thea by blowing up on a landmine that Thea. So yeah. So during season 4, during the season 4 stuff with Prometheus, aka Agent Chase, who we'll get to, Thea accidentally, while her and a bunch of other people walking on Lian stepped on a landmine, and if Thea would have taken her foot off the landmine, she would have blown herself to smithereens. So Malcolm offers to take Thea's place, but when Thea refuses, he takes it into his own hands, pushes Thea out of the way so he can put his foot on the landmine, which allows Thea and the others that he was with to move further ahead while he waited for Captain Boomerang. And then after Captain Boomerang came close, guess what he did? He took his foot off the landmine, blew himself and Captain Boomerang, who we'll get to next up, to death. Sorry, who we'll get into soon, to death. So he's going to go, because of that sacrifice, in mild sadness. Because I still can't forgive what he did do when he was the main villain of the series in season 1. We're going to quickly take a little 10-second break because I'm currently in the process of watching The Vampire Diaries. I don't tell you guys enough about what I do in my spare time outside of these videos. but I'm going to tell you now because I am enjoying these show watches. I did Riverdale a while back. Also, the first 6 seasons. I didn't watch the 7th season because of the poor reception from it. But I watched the first 6 seasons of Riverdale. Absolutely liked it. Really liked it. Loved to actually physically watch the show and see Fred Andrews' memorial service in the show. I watched clips of his death on YouTube, but never got to watch his death, the scene where he was confirmed dead and his funeral scene on the screen because I hadn't watched it until recently. I love the 6 seasons of Riverdale. I'm currently in season 7 of Vampire Diaries. The first 6 seasons were really, really, really good, and I'm enjoying the 7th season. I can't wait for the 8th season. I'm already at the point of the series where Nina Dobrev, who played Elena Gilbert, has left the show, and I'm excited to see how the show ends. I've also got on my watch list the American Asian Netflix original series starring Anna Cathcart of Descents fame, Exo Kitty. I've also got on my list, I'm currently in the process of watching, currently in season 1, Young Sheldon, and I also have The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on my watch list as well. And so that's in terms of my Netflix watch list. Once I'm done with Vampire Diaries on Netflix, I will start watching Originals, the spin-off. I might start watching the Originals, the spin-off, before I watch the ending of Vampire Diaries. I don't know if I want to watch it yet, but given the fact that watch it until after I finish watching Vampire Diaries, but given the fact that all the characters that appear in Originals are done in the Vampire Diaries series, it seems like a perfect time to start watching it. So I'll decide whether or not. But I certainly won't be watching the other spin-off, Legacies, until after I finish watching both Vampire Diaries and Originals. And yeah, so I just thought I'd stop this video quickly to tell you about stuff I'm watching. And yeah, let's get back to the video. Next up, we have our second villain to die on Lian Yu in the season 5 finale, and that is the traitor that is Evelyn Sharp, aka Artemis. Evelyn Sharp was recruited by Oliver alongside Rory Reagan, Ragman, and Curtis Holt, who had at the time just recently become Mr. Terrific. And she was a great character when she was working with the Arrow, but then it was revealed that she was evil, and I lost everything I liked about. I lost respect for her as a character, and when she died, which I didn't even know she did die, I thought she escaped Lian Yu, but she didn't escape Lian Yu, and blew up in the explosion that blew up Lian Yu. So yeah, when I was preparing for this video, and I found out that she actually did die, I was happy. So yeah, because of her betrayal, in the end, it was, for me, a well-deserved death. And I think Lian Yu was the perfect way to kill her off. I think her being killed during the explosion of Lian Yu is a great way to kill her off. Next up, we have the second villain, the third villain killed in the season finale that took place in the series 5 season finale that took place in the season 5 finale that took place on the Lian Yu, and that is the one I mentioned earlier, Captain Boomerang, aka Digger Harkness. I mentioned earlier that Digger Harkness was blown up by a landmine alongside Malcolm Merlyn, who was the one who activated the landmine. Captain Boomerang, just like with Artemis and Ra's al Ghul and Dr. Anthony Ivo definitely deserved his death, and it's ironic, and it was very satisfying to see it be done by another villain in Malcolm Merlyn. Okay, let's get on to the main villain of the fifth season of Arrow, and that is Adrian Chase, aka Prometheus, played by the wonderful Josh Shagar, who was in Scream 6 as Sam's love interest / boyfriend, this person she was hooking up without her friends knowing, until it was revealed that they knew she was hooking up with him. It's a complicated thing, but yeah, Prometheus Adrian Chase, played by Josh Shagar, is a despicable character. And deserved his death. I just wish, annoyingly, I just wish it wasn't at his own hands. I wish Oliver would be the one to kill him, but unfortunately, Prometheus committed suicide, which blew up, which was the thing that caused the explosion of Lian Yu, which killed, like I said, Artemis. And yeah, Prometheus deserves to be in the bottom tier, and I'm, like I said, disappointed he killed himself on his own terms and at his own hands, when I would have rather I would have rather him have been killed. The only death caused by the Lian Yu explosion that doesn't happen on Lian Yu is up next, and that is the death of William Clayton's biological mum and one of Oliver's past flings where he caused her to get pregnant with William. So during the explosion of Lian Yu, Samantha. Well, during the explosion of. Sorry, it wasn't during the. I don't think it was during the Lian Yu explosion. It happened on Lian Yu. And on Lian Yu, she sustained some injuries that caused her to die, which were unfortunately, sadly, enough to kill her tragically. And yeah, because William had lost a mum and Oliver had lost an old girlfriend, I'm going to put Samantha Clayton in sad and emotional. Next up, we have Vigilante, who died of an internal hemorrhage that was from the scream of Laurel Lance from Earth 2, aka the redemption arc, the amazing redemption arc, Black Siren. Another death where it's not deserved, because he was doing some good things, but it was definitely emotionless. Vigilante's death, I didn't feel anything for him when he died, and yeah. So that's Vigilante. Next death is that of one of the two antagonists of the 6th season of Arrow, and that is Caden James. His death, which was him being killed by Ricardo Diaz when he had his subclavian artery severed. Yeah, another death where it's just well deserved. He may not be the most evil villain from Arrow or from season 6, or from Arrow as a whole, or season 6 of the show, but he still deserved the death he was given. Like I said, I just wish it wasn't. I just wish. I'm going to say it this time around. I just wish it wasn't because of Ricardo Diaz, who we'll get to very soon. Next up was a death that was just as hard as his daughter's, and that is the death of Quentin Lance, who was there from the beginning in the Arrowverse. He had some trust issues with Oliver, but in the end, they revealed that they truly both cared for each other, and it was sad to see Quentin die when he sacrifices himself for Earth 2 Laurel Lance, who has now had who by this point has had a redemption arc by getting in the way of a gunshot from Ricardo Diaz, and he died from his injuries. Quentin was a great character, and he had a crazy relationship with Oliver that ended in tragedy, that ended in them becoming friends, and also ended in tragedy. And he goes, fittingly, next to his two daughters in the top tier, because we're not actually ranking this from worst to best in terms of the kills. We're just putting them in a tier based on how I feel about them. And for Quentin, I felt heartbroken to see him die, especially given he's the reason why we got such a good redemption arc from Earth 2 Laurel Lance. And like I said, he made Laurel and Sarah into the people they became. Next up, the most despicable villain, in my opinion, from Arrow, and that is Ricardo Diaz, who deserved to be burnt alive by Emiko Adachi, aka Emiko Queen. Yeah, so well deserved for Ricardo Diaz. A fitting end to a despicable character who is the reason why Quentin died. Next up, we have 3 more kills in Arrow, and the third to last kill in Arrow is that of Emiko Adachi, aka Emiko Queen. Due to what happens after she is stabbed in the stomach in a scene where there was an emotional interaction between her and Oliver, it has to go in sad and emotional. She did some evil stuff for Emiko, but because of the scene that happened just before she died, I have to put it in with Oliver. I have to put it in sad and emotional. So up next, we have the penultimate death of Arrow, and that is, well, it's not really the penultimate death of Arrow, but I'm putting him in here because the next character we're talking about has a big part to do with this guy's demise, and that is the Anti-Monitor, and the guy that we're talking about next that has a relation to the final person we have from Arrow. Is the Anti-Monitor of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I could have done him in the section at the end. I could have done him before I could have ranked him before we ranked everyone who died by the Anti-Matter Wave in one, rank, in one category. Anti-Monitor, unlike the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor was the opposite of the Monitor, the evil version of the Anti-Monitor, and he certainly deserved to be killed off when he was destroyed during the creation of Earth Prime because of Oliver, who, as you could probably guess, given the comments I made before we put the Anti-Monitor in the tier list, is Oliver Queen. The most tragic death in the most tragic death in all 4 shows that we're going to be talking about, all 4 hour shows that we're going to be talking about today. And you know what I said? We're not going to rank them, but just because Oliver Queen's death is the saddest, is the number 1 death of the entire Arrowverse, for the sake of it, I'm going to put him in at the top of devastatingly heartbreaking, even though we're not ranking them from worst to best. And yeah, that's it for the Arrow. So we're just gonna quickly recap every tier after the Arrow. After we put the Arrow characters in, verse characters in, we're gonna go through every tier, and I'm gonna tell you who we put and remind you who we put where. So from Arrow, in Well Deserved, we put Dr. Anthony Ivo, Ra's al Ghul, Artemis, Captain Boomerang, Prometheus, Caden James, Ricardo Diaz, and Antimatter. In Emotionless, we put Sebastian Blood, we put Isabel Rochev, aka Ravager. Amanda Waller, Andy Diggle, Damien Dark, and Vigilante. In Mild Sadness, Floyd Lawton and Malcolm Merlin. In Sad and Emotional, Robert Queen, Yao Fei, Shadow, Samantha. I was about to say Samantha Gilbert. That's the mum of Elena Gilbert from the Vampires. Samantha Clayton and Amika Adachi, aka Amika Queen. And in Currently in Devastating Heartbreaking, Oliver Queen, Malcolm Merlin, Thea Queen, Sarah Lance, Laura Lance, and Quentin Lance, all back to back, which is fitting given they're all related. Sorry, a notification popped up on my phone to tell me that it was. Sorry about that little stoppage in this video. My phone just a notification just popped up on my phone confirming that I'm starting to run out of battery, so I'm going to quickly put my phone on charge. Okay, let's get, with that interruption out of the way and my phone on charge, let's get to the next Arrowverse show, the one that started in 2014, 4 years into the run of Arrow, and that is my favourite of the 4 Arrowverse series that I've watched, and that is The Flash, which I recently just rewatched from season 2 to season 9, which I finished that rewatch a few weeks ago. I didn't rewatch season 1. I rewatched season 2 in honor of Tony Todd, who voiced Zoom when he wasn't Hunter Zolomon, when he had his mask, who voiced Zoom when he had his mask on. And I ended up, after rewatching season 2, I was only meant to rewatch season 2 because of Tony Todd, and I ended up rewatching seasons 3, 4, 5, and I ended up rewatching seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 as well. But I'm really happy I did, because I love this show. I love The Flash, and it has some truly sad and great kills. We're going to start with the big one, and that is Nora Allen, Barry's mum. Oliver and Barry, it's tragic. They both lost their mum. They both lost their dad. I've obviously told you already how Oliver lost his mum and his dad. How did Barry lose his mum? Well, we all know. She was killed we all know that she was killed by the Reverse Flash, where she was stabbed in the heart by Earbud Thorn from the future. And her death was then blamed on her husband, aka Barry's dad, Henry. Yeah, it's not simple to explain why Nora is in the top tier. She lost. It's the reason. Her death is the reason why Barry created Flashpoint. And yeah, that's it. Her death was the reason why Barry created Flashpoint. And in the comics, and just like in the comics, in the Flash, it was a major thing. So yeah, because of that, it has to go in devastatingly heartbreaking. And the fact that not only was her own husband blamed for the death, but it happened in front of a young version of Barry Allen, and it couldn't be prevented by a version of Allen, by Barry from the future, who was always destined to become the Flash. Yeah, Nora goes in the top tier. And speaking of going in the top tier, next up we have Eddie Thorne, who shoots himself for one thing only. For one thing and one thing only. Not because he wanted to die, because he knew killing himself would erase Earbud Thorne from the timeline. So yeah, Eddie goes in the top tier. He had to kill himself, but it doesn't make it any less devastating and heartbreaking. So yeah, devastating and heartbreaking. The Flash is starting really well, and it's going to continue that good streak, because we got the Reverse Flash. Don't get me wrong, the Reverse Flash deserved his death. And being the best villain, and being well deserved of his death, he should go in the bottom tier. But I was just emotionless. I was just emotionless. I didn't really have when he was erased from existence because of Eddie shooting and killing himself. I didn't actually feel anything for him in terms of. I wasn't thinking straight, so I don't know if I could mention this, but yeah, I don't know why, I'm putting the Reverse Flash in emotionless, even though he deserved his death. Next up is Ronnie Raymond, who was killed at the start of season 2, when this thing called a singularity was created and was going to destroy Central City. So what did Ronnie do? He used his Firestorm powers alongside Martin Stein to stop the singularity from destroying Central City, but in the process he unfortunately had his own life taken away from him, which made Caitlin and probably other people very sad, which left Caitlin emotional, and for other people left them sad for Caitlin. So Ronnie's going to go in sad and emotional. Next up is Francine West. Francine is Iris's mum and the wife, the mum of Iris and Wally, aka Kid Flash, and the wife of Joe West. Francine died due to who died due to McGregor's syndrome. Francine's death isn't super sad because she did leave Iris and Joe when Iris was very young, but it was slightly sad, but it was slightly sad. So I'm going to put it in mild sadness. Next up, we have a bunch of characters that were killed when Barry, Cisco, and Harry Wells of Earth 2 travelled to Earth 2 to do some stuff involving the main villain of the season, Zoom, who we'll get to soon. But yeah, we're going to start off with the Earth 2 version of Cisco, aka of Cisco Ramon, aka Reverb. So we'll start with the Earth 2 version of Joe, who is in Earth 2 called Joseph West, not Joe West, Joseph West. Joe was burned by Ronnie Raymond, Earth 2 Ronnie Raymond, aka Deathstorm, and Earth 2 Martin Stein, aka Deathstorm, with a thrown fireball which caused him to suffer injuries that killed him. Unfortunately with these guys, with Joseph West, we didn't know enough about him, so I'm going to put him in emotionless. I felt sorry for Earth 2 Iris and Earth 2 Barry, but I didn't feel sad because I didn't know enough of him well, unlike the Earth 2 version of Laurel. Then we have Ronnie Raymond. Then we have the Firestorm, Ronnie Raymond and Earth 2 Firestorm, Ronnie Raymond and Martin Stein as one. We'll get to the real Martin Stein. We already did Earth 1, Ronnie. We'll get to Earth 1, Martin Stein, not in a short time. Yeah, so, like I said, Deathstorm, Earth 2, Ronnie Raymond and Martin Stein will go, just like in Joe, in emotionless, because I wouldn't say it was well deserved given he was working for Zoom, and I felt slightly sad for the Earth 2 version of Caitlin, who had fully adopted the persona of Frost, who Caitlin would eventually go on to turn into and split from, and C-Die, we'll get to that soon. But yeah, Ronnie Raymond, Earth 2 Ronnie, and Earth 2 Martin Stein, who make up Earth 2 Firestorm, who is evil, will go in emotionless. Reverb is up next, who just like... Oh, and Deathstorm was impaled through the neck by Hunter Solomon, aka Zoom, with his hand at moving speed. Also died the person... And the next character also died in the same way, and that is the Earth 2 version of Cisco Ramon, aka Reverb. And just like Ronnie and Joe, he goes in emotionless. I don't think he deserved it, his death, because he, like I said, he was working under Zoom, but I definitely was emotional. So yeah, he's going to go in emotionless. Next up, we have the Earth 2 version of Killer Frost, of Caitlin Snow, Killer Frost, and Killer Frost was Earth 2 Killer Frost, aka Caitlin Snow, was stabbed in the stomach by Hunter Solomon / Zoom with an icicle. And just like her boyfriend and the other Earth 2 characters, she's going in emotionless. Didn't deserve to die. I don't think he deserved to die. But there was definitely no emotion in her death. So yeah. we're getting through the Earth 2 versions of some of our Earth 1 characters very quickly, because we've got one final version of a character from Earth 1 in Earth 2. The Earth 2 version of another character from Earth 1, and that is the Earth 2 version of Cisco's brother, Dante Ramone, who in Earth 2 was a supervillain called Rupture. And after finding out Cisco was killed, Dante of Earth 2 went to get revenge on him, but he was then abruptly had his neck broken by Solomon Sassoon, another character that goes into Emotionless. Now, I'm starting to get real uncomfortable on my chest. So I'm going to stand up for a little bit, and then we'll get back to it. And as you can't tell, because only I can see how long this is going, and you can probably tell by the screen that at this point in the video we've been going on for just over an hour. So I might split this video into two parts, given we're now at an hour. But I might just continue filming and see how long it takes to film this entire video in one go, and then release, and then hopefully maybe we might have our longest video yet. But I'm going to quickly walk around a little bit so I can. I'm going to quickly walk around for the next few seconds so I can start to feel comfortable when I sit back down in the seat. So I can start to feel comfortable when I sit back down in the seat. And I've also got to get rid of a bit of rubbish, a can of Coke, an empty can of Coke. Okay, next up, I'm back, and I'm now in a much comfier mode with my butt, and we're going to sit back down and we're going to continue filming. I'm just going to film until I finish, or until some reason my phone cuts me off because my storage is full. And if I finish it before that happens, then I'll upload the video from start to finish, no matter how long it is. But if somehow the second thing that I said does happen, I'll just start from the previous. I'll look at the video. I'll look at this video again, see where I ended off before it cut me off, and then I will continue on a new video where that video left off. But hopefully we can get this done through one video. So let's get to the next death. We're done with Earth 2, and we're now back to Earth 1, and we started this flash section with Barry's first, the death of Barry's first parent, and now we have the death of Barry's second parent, his dad Henry, who was stabbed by Hunter Zolomon / Zoom near the end of season 2. This is another death where it's just like Nora, where it's just not. This is another death where it's emotional. This is starting to get really surprising. Where we've still got a lot of characters to get through in the Flash. And we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 deaths in the top tier, devastatingly heartbreaking. I knew there'd be a lot of episodes, but that many? I knew there'd be a lot of characters in that tier list across the whole video, but that many that early? Wow. Enough about that. Henry Allen goes in the top tier, stabbed by Hunter Zolomon, aka Zoom, in front of Barry. You can't get... sometimes you can't get more emotional than that. Having a character watch their parent die in front of them. Which happened twice for Barry, with both his mum and his dad. So, Barry doesn't have the best track record when it comes to watching loved ones in front of you die. But yeah, Barry's dad Henry goes in the top tier. Next up is Zoom, who was decayed by what the Arrowverse call time waifs who clean up the timeline in the Arrowverse when it gets messy. Zoom deserved everything that came to him. Like, he deserved everything that came from him. And he's going to go in well deserved. His death's going to go in well deserved. One death that definitely won't be going to well deserved is the sad death that is the death of Mr. H.R. Wells. H.R. Wells was the second version. Well, technically first. Technically third. Second, technically third person. Third version of Harrison Wells. And he died when he replaced Iris to save her from her death. That was destined, that was meant to be destined to happen. And H.R. Wells managed to switch places and die instead, which you may seem like, oh great, Iris survived, but I loved HR and it was sad to see him go. And I thought at the time he'd be the only version of Harrison Wells to get killed, but the other one that got killed we'll get to next time. And I wouldn't count if you say it's a death. But yeah, H.R. Wells goes in sad and emotional. Because he wasn't a major character and because he was only in one season, I'm only going to put him in sad and emotional. If he was in more than one season, I would have probably put him top. But he's not. He's in one season. So, second tier. Savitar, the main villain of season 3, goes right next to who goes right next to Zoom. It goes right next to Zoom in well deserved. Next up, we have 5 of the victims. We have 4 of the victims who had their powers, we have 4 of the metas that were turned. We got 4 of the metas who were dubbed in season 4 of The Flash, the boss metas, who had their powers stripped from Clifford DeVoe. First up, first up is, so we have Mina Shaitan, aka Black Bison. He goes in emotionless. She goes in she goes in emotionless. Then we have Ramsey Deacon, aka Kilgore. Emotionless. Then we have Silbert Rundine / Dwarf Star. Emotionless. And then the final boss meta for now is the one that is the one of these four that the Clifford DeVoe not only took the powers away from, but also took the body of, and that is Evelyn, and that is not Evelyn Sharp, and that is Becky Sharp, aka Hazard. Because of her power, because of her power, and I feel sorry for the power she has, mild sadness. Next up, so we're done with the boss metas for now, because for the next character we're going to talk about, because the next character we're talking about is Warden Gregory White, because of what he was doing as warden of the main prison in Arrow, in the Flash, which I can't remember the name of. He goes in the bottom tier. Well deserved. He deserved his death because of what he was doing as a warden. And then we're straight back to the bus metas, because next up is Izzy Bowen, aka the Fiddler. Because of her little relationship with Ralph, she goes next to she goes alongside Becky Sharp in mild sadness. And then next up, Jeanette Petty, aka Null. Oh, by the way, Izzy was the second bus meta to have his body taken over. To have their body taken over. Next up, like I said, is Jeanette Petty, aka Null. Jeanette Petty, aka Null. Emotionless. Then we have Matthew Kim, Melting Point. Because of his powers, mild sadness, and the fact that he didn't mean to switch Barry and Iris's speed. Sorry. And he didn't mean to take Barry's speed out of his body and put it into Iris, which gave her super speed. And then the second to last boss meta is Edwin Gass, aka the Folder Man. Emotionless. Next up, we have our final boss meta, and that is the saddest boss meta death of them all, and that is the death of Ralph Dibny. Obviously, Ralph would eventually go on to come back to life, but at the time we didn't know if he would come back to life, so I'm going to put him for his death, ignoring the fact that he came back alive, in sad and emotional, because when he did die, it was sad and emotional. Clifford DeVoe. This may be crazy to say, but I think Clifford Defoe's fate was the most deserved across all 4 shows that I watched that we're talking about on this list. And that must be, and that's it's not every day, and that's probably an unpopular opinion given. I think we can all agree that Clifford Defoe is not a good villain. Next up, we have our first season 5 character, and that is on this list that we're going to cover the death of, and that is Dr. Vanessa Ambers, who was taking care of both our main cicada, Edwin Dwyer, who was taking care of our main cicada, Edwin Dwyer's daughter. Sorry, of Orlin Dwyer's daughter. The Dr. Ambrose goes in mild sadness. Even though we didn't know anything about her, it wasn't emotional, because in the end she was just a person doing a job and died for it. Next up is the dad of her patient, or the Dwyer, aka the first cicada, because of the position his daughter was in. When he started killing, it has to go in sad and emotional, because I felt sorry for him that he had to deal with his daughter being in a position of possible death. Okay, yeah, sad, emotional, mild sadness. Mild sadness, sad and emotional. Next up is Cicada 2. Even though I put her dad in sad and emotional, unfortunately I can't give Grace Gibbons, aka Cicada 2, that treatment. So yeah, not well deserved, but emotionless. I felt no emotion for her when she died. When she was... Actually, I forgot to mention how some of these guys died. I forgot to mention how the last few died. Clifford Defoe was destroyed by Ralph Dibny when he retook over his body, which had been possessed by the Thinker, after he's absorbed Ralph's powers. Dr. Vanessa Ambers was stabbed in the chest. Orlin Dwyer / Cicada was stabbed in the neck, was stabbed in the back by his own daughter. And Cicada 2, who killed her dad, was erased from existence when her dad was destroyed. Next up, next up is another heartbreaking death. Our first heartbreaking death in a while. Our first devastating heartbreaking death in a while. And that is the death of Nora Allen, who was erased from existence when a new timeline set in due to Cicada 2's dagger being destroyed. I'm just going to quickly turn on the lights before I continue. Okay, next up, we were talking about Nora. Nora was, like I said, erased from existence when a new timeline set in due to Cicada 2's dagger being destroyed. You can't get... This is, for me, the most emotional death in the Flash, which is insane given the fact that we saw Nora die tragically, Henry died tragically, and even Eddie died tragically. But there was something about Nora dying that was even more heartbreaking, especially given the fact that her dad had just forgiven her for working with the Reverse Flash, and she dies, and she's erased from existence because of Cicada 2's dagger being destroyed. Okay, that's Nora. Next up, we have one of Cisco's many girlfriends, Gypsy. She goes in sad and emotional, and the main reason why she goes in sad and emotional is because I love Cisco and Cisco loved her, and it was tragic to see Cisco for Cisco to see. It was tragic to see Cisco see the person he loved confirmed dead when he could have been there to stop it, or at least when he could have left on better terms. Next up, we have the Earth 19 doppelganger of our wonderful Allegra Garcia, our wonderful Allegra Garcia, Maya, who was the adoptive daughter of Nash Wells, who we'll get to. Maya's death is tragic, especially given the fact that it was kind of Nash's fault, and I think he knows that it was his fault. And yeah, that scene with him reliving her death and having to, confirm that it was his mistake that she died, just so they could stop. Just so they could stop someone that they had to stop by Nash confessing that it was his fault that Maya died. Enough about that. Maya, because of that scene and the relationships we see that she had with Nash, she goes in sad and emotional. Next up is the Mirrorverse versions of some of these, of three characters. The first one is the Mirrorverse version of Camilla, and because she was nothing compared to the real Camilla, so emotionless. Same with Iris. Emotionless. Okay, and then Mirrorverse Detective Singh, again, same thing. Same with, he goes in the same tier as Mirrorverse Camilla and Mirrorverse Iris, because they weren't the real Iris, Camilla, and David Singh. When they did die, I didn't care one bit. Another death that I didn't really care for, that I didn't care one bit for, and that is Joseph Carver, who I think deserved his death for what he did to his wife, even though his wife retaliated unfairly. Mirrorverse Camilla was committed suicide by walking to a protective shield. Mirrorverse Iris was shattered by Ava McCulloch, aka Mirror Monarch, after she disobeyed her, and Mirrorverse David Singh was shattered from within by Ava McCulloch and Mirror Monarch. Joseph Carver, who we put in the bottom tier, was stabbed in the chest by Ava McCulloch. Next up, Nash Wells, who dies when his multiversal particles are absorbed when he touches a fusion sphere to create an artificial speed force to give Barry his speed back, which he had lost. One of the most complicated and probably painful deaths in the entire Arrowverse, goes in devastating, heartbreaking, especially given he built a good relationship with everyone at Starlabs, and also given the fact that is the whole daughter situation. At least he can know at least he knew when he died that he was making the right. That he was at least when he died, he was giving Barry his speed back, or giving away to, or giving away to Barry to get his, giving away to way Barry could get his speed back. So creating a way Barry could get his speed back. Next up is Ava McCulloch, because her death. This is Ava McCulloch, but this is not Mirror Monarch. Mirror Monarch, the Ava McCulloch, as in not Mirror Monarch. Mirror Monarch was a mirror copy of Ava, of the real Ava McCulloch, who died during a particle accelerator explosion when she crashed into a mirror, which created the the Ava McCulloch who have just described their death to you. The Ava McCulloch we're talking about here is the one not evil one. So everything that Mirror Monarch did is nothing against the Ava McCulloch we're talking about here. So, because of that, mild sadness. Given she was just in her office and got killed. What's she going to do? Next up is Esperanza Garcia, aka Ultraviolet, who was disintegrated after being shot in the stomach by an unknown black hole agent. Because of the relationship she had started to rebuild with her sister, I'm going to put Esperanza's death in sad and emotional. Next up, we're on to our, in terms of this document, we are on to our second to last page. Next character up is Earth. 90 Flash in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Barry was supposed to sacrifice himself and disappear, but sorry. Next up we have the Barry Allen of Earth 90. During Crisis, Barry of Earth 1 was meant to sacrifice his life to save the world, but Earth 90 Barry Allen took his place. It was a noble sacrifice, but it was a sad noble sacrifice. Sad and emotionless. Okay, next up. Actually, we've got 3 characters left. We've got 3 characters left from The Flash. Character 1, the third to last character from The Flash, that we're going to talk about on this death tier list from Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and that is Deathstorm. Deathstorm was... This is a different version of Deathstorm. Well, actually, sorry. Yeah, this is a different version of the this is Deathstorm was destroyed and had his energy absorbed by Hellfrost. Because he was basically a example of a super evil being. Given he was a super evil being, who only cared about given he was a being of pure destruction, he goes in well deserved. The death that I've been wanting to talk about since I started this video, and we finally got to it, and that is the death of Killer Frost, or should I say, at the time of her death, Frost. Frost was killed. Frost died of a cardiac arrest that she suffered due to the grief she absorbed from destroying Deathstorm. What makes Frost's death so tragic is after being sentenced to prison in season 7, she makes it out and gets to continue a good normal life with Caitlin, and then she has to sacrifice herself. And then she has to sacrifice herself, and then she has to stop Deathstorm, and she does stop Deathstorm, but because she stopped Deathstorm, she dies from it. So not only that, but the fact Caitlin was distraught, and it also caused Caitlin to miss. And it also almost caused Caitlin to miss her mum's funeral. It's a lot. It's actually the scene with Frost, the scene of Frost dying, reminds me of the scene that I've just watched on Vampire Diaries, which is the scene where Caroline's mum Liz dies from cancer, terminal cancer. It's a bit different because it's a cardiac arrest for Frost, terminal cancer for Liz, but the scenes are both very emotional in similar ways because Caitlin and Frost are sisters, and because Liz and Caroline were mum and daughter. But yeah, there were multiple factors into why Killer Frost or Frost has to be in the top tier, devastatingly heartbreaking. Now, next up, you'll be surprised. You might be surprised. I don't know. You might be surprised to see this person on the list again, because you're like, oh, you didn't already count him? Well, he died. He died twice. There's 2 times he died that I want to talk about. The first time this person died, he was raised to existence after his long-lost relative, after his descent from the past, shot himself dead. The second time he died, he overloaded himself with the negative speed force, negative strength force, negative still force, and negative stage force, causing him to vanish. And that is obviously Eobard Thorn. Both of these deaths are so memorable, I had to include them both. And just like with the first Eobard Thorn death, you may be like, why are you doing this again? You got him twice and you're putting both of them in the same. You're doing him twice and you've got 2 kills for him on this list, and you're putting both of them in Emotionless. And that is, yes, I am. I'm putting Eobard Thorn the second time round on this list in the second to bottom tier, just like the first time round we put him in this tier list. So yeah, that's it for The Flash. We're now on to Supergirl. We're now on 123 minutes in this video. I don't want to be filming for too long, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 more deaths to go through. First up is Astra, who was... First is Astra Zor-El, who was stabbed through the back by Alex Danvers. I didn't like her as a character. I liked her as a villain, but not as a person. But I don't think she truly deserved her death because, and I don't think it was truly emotionless because of the relationship she did used to have with Kara. So I'm putting Astra in mild sadness. Next up is Queen Rhea. She deserved her death. And why did she deserve her death? She didn't allow her own son to stay on Earth, even though he had built a nice life on Earth. Well deserved. Next up is Livewire. Livewire was killed when she dissipated into electricity after being blasted in the chest by rain. Because she had a slight redemption arc, I'm going to put it in mild sadness. Then it's Grace Parker, aka Pestilence, aka Grace Parker, was blasted in the face by Julia Freeman / Purity with a sonic scream, and her powers were then absorbed by rain. Grace Parker Pestilence goes in the well-deserved tier. Remember, the Kryptonian being possessing the Pestilence was a Kryptonian being possessed Grace Parker. So this death isn't anything against Grace Parker. Grace Parker is against the person who was controlling her body. But Pestilence goes in the bottom tier. Next up is the second member of the threesome from season 3 of the evil threesome from season 3 of Supergirl, which I can't remember the name of. Like I said, it's Julia Freeman / Purity. Purity died of organ failure after being infected by Grace Parker after being infected by Pestilence. Her powers, just like Pestilence, were also absorbed by rain. And just like Pestilence, Purity goes at the bottom. Next up is the third and final member of the trio of hench villains in season 3 of Supergirl, and that is the one that the Kryptonian being that possessed, and it's the Kryptonian being that possessed, and it's the Kryptonian being that possessed Samantha Arias, and that is Rain. Rain. This is Rain was killed when she was forced to drink from the Fountain of Weakness by Samantha Arias, causing the ghosts of Juru to drag her into the fountain, resulting in her banishment. Banishment is a bad way to go, but she deserved it. Rain, you go in the bottom tier. Next up is Manchester Black. He's your classic street level villain. I'm not going to say he deserved his fate, but I'll put him in emotionless. I didn't feel any emotion for him. The only reason why he is in the second to last tier, not the last tier, is because of, I think, a family thing. Final cat for Supergirl is William Day. William goes for me. William Day, who was shot twice in the chest, is going into the top tier, devastatingly heartbroken. He died before Carl could even tell him that he was Supergirl, and the fact that it was done by Lex Luthor just makes it even worse. That makes me feel even sadder for William Day. So yeah, William Day goes in devastating heartbreaker. We're into the final show on this tier list for the Arrowverse. The final Arrowverse show that we're ranking the kills in on this tier list is going to be, well, Legends of Tomorrow. The first character of Legends of Tomorrow is Leonard Snart. He's the only villain that's going in the top tier. Was he a villain? Yes. Was he a good villain? Yes. Did he make the one of the most noble sacrifices in the Arrowverse? Yes. Was I sad? Surprisingly, yes. Leonard Snart, you redeemed yourself. and your death is going in the top tier. Next up, Vandal Savage deserved his death. He was electrocuted when Rip Hunter threw him into a circuit breaker after being stabbed in the chest by Kendra Saunders / Hot Girl while near a Thanagarian meteorite. Vandal Savage was a bad person. He was a villain. He was a good villain, but was a bad person. Well deserved. But who knows? He might be resurrected again. Who knows? But who knows? He could be resurrected. There's a possibility of him being resurrected again. The final character the final character on this list that we're doing twice, and that is Damien Dark, because I believe there was 2 kills. There was 2 times Damien Dark died that we had to talk about. The first one was the one at the end of season 4 where he was stabbed by Oliver. The second one that we're talking about is when he sacrificed himself for his daughter, Nora, when he took his place to save her from being destroyed by Malice, the main villain of one of the seasons in Legends of Tomorrow. This death for Damien Dark is definitely higher than his last death, because he was doing it for his daughter. And because he was doing it for his daughter, I'm going to put his second death on this list in the sad and emotional tier. Next up, Rip Hunter. Rip blew himself up to stop Malice. He redeemed himself after a difficult season 2. After a difficult few seasons where some of his methods were questionable. Rip, because I like him as a character, goes in sad and emotional. Next up is Malice. Malice was killed by a giant toy called Bebo, who was controlled by Sarah Lance / Wet Canary, Nate Hayward / Steel, Wally West / Kid Flash, Amaya G-Way / Virtue, Mick Roy / Heatwave, and Zari. Tomaz, Malice was a demon. If anyone deserved to die, it was him. Well deserved. So yeah, Malice goes in the bottom tier. Next up is Neon. Neon was incinerated by John Constantine using magic. Another character. Then, just like Malice, he's evil. He's one of the most evil characters in the Arrowverse and deserves to go in the bottom tier. So yeah, Neon goes in the bottom 10. We got our penultimate, well, we got our third to last death, but a penultimate singular death on this tier list, and that is the death of Bishop. Bishop was a villain for most of his time on Supergirl, but he ended up being shot in the head by a robot version of Sarah Lance. Because he redeemed himself, and because he redeemed himself, mild sadness. Okay, and the final character death before we get to the big one at the very end is Evil Gideon. Evil Gideon, an evil version of the AI used by a bunch of people. Gideon, played by in Legends of Tomorrow. Amy Louise Pemberton. who's a great actor, who was great as the character, by the way. Yeah. So yeah, Evil Gideon is blown up when she blows up the Wave Rider. Evil Gideon was an evil version of an AI who was very smart and very good at her AI job. Well deserved for Evil Gideon. And I can't feel any emotion. Well, not well deserved because he is, but well deserved because she's a robot. But emotionless because robots don't feel them. AI people don't. AI doesn't feel emotion. So that's it for the character deaths. We've now got the death, or the biggest death of them all, and that is every victim killed during Crisis, when the antimatter wave wipes out every Earth, bar including Earth 1. So this is every character. So it's a 12-figure number of victims in Crisis, but the characters that aren't included in the big total are Oliver, who we've ranked separately, the Antimonitor, who we've ranked separately, and obviously the Paragons, the Crisis Paragons, the Crisis victims of the antimatter wave. Go in devastatingly heartbroken. Everyone on every Earth before Earth Prime was created got destroyed. All I need to say. The biggest mass murder in probably one of the biggest mass murders in TV show history goes in the top tier because it's just that simple. It's tragic. I know everyone was brought back to life, but the universe was still destroyed. The multiverse was destroyed and killed everyone. And yes, they came back, but still, it still happened. And it goes in devastatingly heartbroken. That's every death put in the tier list. But you know what? I said I wasn't going to do a ranking. I'm going to do a ranking. I'm going to rank these kills from worst to best. I am going to do it. It's going to be complicated, but I'm going to do it. In the well-deserved category, I think the character who deserved their death the most was the Anti-Monitor, who, like I said, who killed dozens of people. Then I'm going to say Clifford DeVoe, hate him with a passion. Then I'm going to go Zoom. Then I'm going to go Ricardo Diaz. Then I'm going to go Malice, given he's a demon. Then I'm going to go Deathstorm, because he killed Killer Frost. Then I'm going to go Savitar. He wanted to kill Iris. Then I'm going to go Rain. Then I'm going to go Vanna Savage. His whole purpose of being alive was to kill Carter, and Kendra. Then I'm going to go the Warden. Then I'm going to go Warden Gregory Wolf. Then I'm going to go Prometheus, because of what he did because of everything he did in his season. Then I'm going to go Queen Rhea. Then I'll stick Neron. Then I'll go Ra's al Ghul. Then I'll go Ra's al Ghul. Then I'll go Caden James. Then I'll go Prometheus's two lackeys with Captain Boomerang, and then with Captain Boomerang, and then Artemis, and then I'm gonna do Dr. Anthony Ivor, and then at the top I'm gonna do Joseph Carver, and then at the top of the well-deserved tier I'm gonna do Joseph Carver. Okay, we've got the emotionless tier. At the bottom of the emotionless tier, I will go Damien Dark. This is the first time he died. He killed Laura Lance. Then I'm going to go both the reverse flashes. First with the first reverse flash death, the one with Eddie killing himself, and then the second one where he gets blown up. Then I'm going to go Cicada 2 because that scene with Nora being arrested in is one of the most emotional scenes I've ever watched. Then I'm going to go Manchester Black. No. Then I'll go Sebastian Blood. I think I just feel like he was a bad person, and yeah, Sebastian Blood because of what he did in his season. Then I'm going to go Vigilante, which you may be thinking that's a little bit low. I just don't like him as a character. Then I'm going to go Amanda Waller. She didn't do anything wrong, but she did create the Suicide Squad, which, as you can tell by the name, is quite a team. So yeah, Amanda Waller. Then I'm going to go Evil Gideon, because AI can do it. AI can do anything. Then I'm going to go Manchester Black. Then I'm going to go Andy Diggle. He made his brother think he was dead. Then we're going to do Zoom's lackeys. We'll do in the order of for Zoom's lackeys. We'll do Reverb, then Killer Frost, then Firestorm. Then we're gonna go he wasn't one of Zoom's henchmen, but he did get revenge. He did want to get revenge for his brother. I'm gonna put and then above Zoom's lackeys will be Reverb's brother Rupture. Then I'm gonna do what's her name from the lady that works with Deathstroke. The one that works with Deathstroke. Yeah, Isabel Rochev, Ravager. No. Wait, no, that is her. No, Isabella Rochev, the Savager. Then I'm going to go to Clifford DeVoe's. Then I'm going to go Clifford DeVoe's lackeys. Clifford DeVoe's, the bus metters. What order do we do it in? It doesn't really matter what we do. We're definitely going to put the 4 evil ones at the bottom. We're definitely going to put. Oh, they're not even. Sorry. The other two, the two that I was going to put, Becky and Izzy aren't even on this tier. So yeah, the four evil bus metas in a random order. I don't really care what order. Black Bison. I've gone Black Bison, then Kilgore, then Dwarf Star, and then I'll go Null. And then I'll go the final. And I'll go the final bus meta that died. Sorry, the second to last. No, the second to last bus meta that died. Second to last bus meta that died. Edwin Gauss, the Folder Man. Then it's the mirror. Duplicates of Iris, Camilla, and David Singh. David Singh will be first. Then it will be Camilla. Then it will be Iris, because Iris was the main one. Mirror vs Iris was the main one. And then at the top of the emotionless tier list, which is cool, is Joseph West. The Earth 2 version of Joe West. Next tier, is the mild sadness tier. We've not got too many characters in this tier. At the bottom, we're going to put Ava McCulloch. Then we're going to do Bishop. Then we're going to do Astra. Then we're going to do Francine, not the best mum. Who do we do next? We're going to do Francine. Then we're going to do Floyd Lawton. Then we'll do Livewire. Then we'll do the other 3 bus metas. We'll start with Melting Point, just above Livewire. Then it will be Becky. Then Izzy, because of her little thing with Ralph before she had her powers absorbed. Then it will be Malcolm Merlin, who I thought would be much lower on this tier, given what he did before nobody sacrificed himself. But he's second from the top, and at the top is Dr. Vanessa Ambrose, who didn't deserve her death, so she goes at the top of that tier. Sad / emotional. I'll put Damien Dark at the bottom. Then after Damien Dark, it will be Cicada. Then after Cicada, just above Cicada, will be Miko. Then it'll be a Miko. Then I'll keep Esperanza there. Then I'm gonna go Robert Queen. Then I'm gonna go Barry Earth 90. We didn't know enough about him. Then I'm gonna go Yao Fei. Then I'm gonna go just above him, his daughter Shadow. And just above Shadow, I'll go Samantha Clayton. Just above her, I'll go Ronnie. Just above Ronnie, it'll be Gypsy. Just above Gypsy, it will be Maya. Just above Maya will be HR. And at the top of the sad/emotional tier is Ralph Dimney. And then finally we have the top tier, devastatingly heartbroken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The top 15. That's spot on. In our top tier, we have exactly 15. So our top 15, the top 15 best kills in the Arrowverse for good and bad reasons on this tier list are in the top tier. That is awesome. In 15th, I'm gonna go. Sadly, I feel like it's wrong to put him this low. I think it's wrong to put him this low because it's tragic, but I'm going to put William Day in 15th. In 14, I'm going to go Eddie. As much as it's emotional, he chose to die. And that's not an excuse to have him low, but still, he chose to sacrifice himself. Then, well, so did Leonard Snart, but I love Leonard. I love Captain Cold. Then 13th will go Nash. Nothing against him, just I think their death's better than him. There are multiple factors that go into this ranking. I'm just trying. It's mainly what I feel like, and there's just lots that this is my opinion. So if you have a difference of opinion, put it down in the comment section. Then just above Nash, I'm going to go next to each other, Nora and Henry. They're both heartbreaking, but the ones above, just a little bit more heartbreaking. Okay, so 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. In 10th, I'm going to go Captain Cold. He just sneaks into the top 10 because I love Captain Cold and I was sad to see him sacrifice, and I was sad to see him die. Then in 9th will be one that I want to be higher, but I'm going to put him here. In 9th, it's Tommy Merlin. 8th. This is where it gets difficult. Is going to be 8th. I'll go Sarah because she is revived. Then I'll go 15, 14, 11, 10, 9. In 8th, Sarah. In 7th, I'll go. I'll go Frost. In 7th. It's just one of the saddest scenes from The Flash, and I'm just so sorry for Kitten. Kitten was my favourite cat. It's one of my favourite characters in the Arrowverse, and I was so sorry. I was sorry to see her lose her husband, but I was even more sorry to see her lose her sister. So yeah. 15, 14, 10, 9, 8. In 8th, Sarah. In 7th, Killer Frost. In 6th, I'll go Nora. And my top 5. We have my top 5. My top 5 favourite kills from the Arrowverse. And all of these are because they're so heartbreaking. In 5th, we have 2 of our main characters from the first 3 seasons, Laurel, Oliver. 2 of our main parents, Moira and Quentin and the victims of the antimatter waves. Quentin, I'm going to put 5th, because out of the 5, it's the least emotional, in my opinion. It's still very emotional and very heartbreaking and very devastating, but it's the least devastating and heartbreaking out of the 5 that are in the top 5. In 4th, this is so fucking hard. What do I do? How do I rank this? My top 4 is really difficult. In my top 4, I have Oliver, Quentin. In my top 4, I have Oliver, Laurel, Moira Queen, and the victims of the antimatter wave. They shouldn't really. Because they shouldn't really be on this list because of how big of a. Because of how big of a mass murderer. Given how big of a mass murder it is, I'm going to put in 4th all the victims of the antimatter wave during Crisis. These for me are the 3. These for me, my top 3 here, for me are the 3 most heartbreaking deaths in the Arrowverse, and they all come in Arrow. Number 1 is obvious. It's got to be Oliver Queen. It's the death that ends. It's the death that saved the entire world, and it's still so heartbreaking. So that has to be number 1. But it's the top 2. Who gets the bronze medal on this tier list, and who gets the silver medal on this tier list? Will it be Moira bronze, Laurel silver, or Laurel bronze, Moira silver? I have spoken. My second most devastatingly heartbroken death, which makes it the second best death in the Arrowverse, is earning the silver medal, Laurel Lance. I've got Moira Queen 3rd. Moira is heartbreaking. Especially because Thea and Oliver bear witness to it. But Moira offered herself up, sacrificed her life for her kids. However, what puts Laurel above Moira is outside of. Well, I didn't cry when Oliver died. Laurel is the only character that I cried. Is the only character who. Laurel is the only character death where I actually physically cried. So I can't not put her as number 2. And number 1, it had to be Oliver. He sacrificed his life to save the entire multiverse. No death can top that. So before we leave, I will go through once more my top 15 kills from the Arrowverse, and the top 15 are all in the devastatingly heartbreaking tier, so it'll be from least heartbreaking to most heartbreaking. 15 William Day, 14 Eddie Thorne, 13 Nash, 12 Nora, 13 Nora Allen, Barry's mum, 12 Nora Allen, Barry's mum, 11 Henry Allen, Barry's dad, 10 Captain Cold, Len Snart, 9 Malcolm Merlin, Tommy Merlin, 8 Sarah Lance, 7 Frost, 6 Nora West Allen, 5th Quentin Lance, 4th all the victims of the antimatter wave during Crisis, 3rd Moira Queen, 2nd Laurel Lance, and 1st the most heartbreaking death and the best death in the Arrowverse is that of Oliver Queen. Then we're going to quickly go through each tier again. excluding the top tier, from bottom to top. So this is the well-deserved category. Well-deserved. From bottom, most deserved kill to least deserved. To least, most deserved kill and the least most deserved kill. So this tier goes from the most well-deserved, the most deserved kill to the least most deserved kill. Sorry, the most well-deserved kill to the least most well-deserved kill. Anton Monitor, Clifford DeVoe, Zoom, Kane, Ricardo Diaz, Malice, Deathstorm, Saboteur, Rain, Vandal Savage, Warden Gregory Wolf, Prometheus, Adrian Chase, Queen Rhea, Neron, Ra's al Ghul, Purity, Pestilence, Caden James, Captain Boomerang, Artemis, Dr. Anthony Ivo, Joseph Carver. Then, the motionless tier. The most emotionless kill to the least emotionless kill. Damien Dark. Eobard Thawne, Season 1. Eobard Thawne, the season where Eobard Thawne, season... Okay, let me go from the beginning of that tier list, from most emotionless to least emotionless. Damien Dark, Reverse Flash Season 1. Reverse Flash Eobard Thawne Season 1. Reverse Flash Eobard Thawne Season 8. Cicada 2, Grace Gibbons. Sebastian Blood. Vigilante, Amanda Waller, Evil Gideon, Manchester Black, Andy Diggle, Reverb, Earth, Cisco Ramon, Earth 2, Reverb, Caitlin Snow, Earth 2, Killer Frost, Ronnie Raymond, Earth 2, Firestorm, Earth 2, Dante Ramon, then Rupt after